Good morning, everyone.
Morning, morning.
How's everyone doing?
Amazing.
Doing
Good.
great yourself?
Good. All right. We'll give it a couple minutes before we get started. Thank you, Cole, for putting the attendance sheet in there. So I'm excited about today. Got two amazing speakers. You're gonna hear from performing in both those markets where they're at. So I'm excited to share.
Casey, your audio is cutting out pretty bad. You might want to go just no video.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
A little bit better.
All right. I'm working on my Wi-Fi. It literally just started crushing in a bad way the last couple of weeks, so I apologize about that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Nick, why don't you go ahead and give us an introduction?
Yeah, I'm Nick Street, mortgage lender based out of Sacramento, California. I think I've been a Rise partner for coming up on 2 years now. So in a few different markets, actually, in a few different states. So we've had some good success overall with the program being introduced to a lot of the different platforms. So we've definitely gained a good perspective from the lending side.
Thanks, Jared. he put a nice little comment in there. Chris, why don't you go ahead and give us an introduction?
Yeah, Chris Gurney, work in the Seattle, Washington area. We have a team of about 25 agents. I've been doing real estate. This is my 19th year. I was a broker owner prior to going to EXP. Owned that company for 11 years. Average between 500 and 600 units per year. Our big thing is leads. So mostly all of our deals we close, I'd probably say 80% of our deals are lead generated and closed out by agents with 2 years or less experience in the market. Right now we average probably about 120 units between 75 and 95 million a year.
No, I love that. So I'm going to go to Nick. Talk to me about expectations as far as lead gen goes with your LOs and then working with these agents. I think it's important for everyone on this call to kind of hear that transition. I'm going to switch it over to Chris there, and he could talk about that as well.
Yeah, I think, Chris does a really good job in terms of creating an expectation. And so I think that's number one for any of the LOs on my team is when we're working with an agent, when it comes to leads in terms of speed to lead, how we as a lender are going to be involved in it. It absolutely comes down to expectation, right? How and when are we going to get involved? And a lot of that comes down to the agent's preference in terms of the cadence. Some like lender to be involved first. Others want to nurture it themselves first. So developing that strategy together and then coming through with that expectation. But we have a pretty detailed system to which members of my team, as well as utilizing technology and automated touches, like we're contacting leads all day, every day.
Yeah, I love that. And then Chris, how do you build that relationship? Because I know close a transaction has a lot to do with the lender that you're working with. So talk to me about your process with your agents and lenders.
Yeah, so the process is it's pretty simple. Well, to me it's simple, but to others it'd be difficult, but it's pretty simple. The first thing that I do is I'll have a sit down with the LO and get a real clear understanding what their goals are, where they're headed, what's their why. And then I make sure that we align the same way. We're both going in the same direction. And then after that, I let them know what my expectations are from dialing, from using our system. Like like Nick was saying, speed to lead, that's important, being available. We're just very, very clear with, the direction we're headed in. So I treat the LO like a business partner. I know that's going to sound kind of odd to some people, but, to me, I'm in business with them, and I should know exactly what their expectations of me are, just besides, hey, give me appointments, give me leads. But how much business are they wanting to do? I need to know that, because it's my job to make sure that that LO is successful, if that makes sense to everybody on here. If I'm not continuously growing to become a better leader and a good business partner with my LO, with my, the team leader or the LO that's in charge there, I'm failing them. It's just like with my agents, right? So it's the same thing. I treat the agents the same way. It's a business relationship.
No, absolutely. I love that. Hey, Chris, with your team, I know you're on basically every lead gen Rise has to offer.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the expectations when a new agent comes to your team. What lead sources do you put them on, and walk me through what your favorites lead sources are and what theirs are.
Yeah. So, we generate probably about 1,500 leads outside of like what we do with you guys. And so the agent needs to get in and learn how to dial and speak to clients in the beginning. So we teach them pitch, we teach them, process, follow up. And then we'll get them into the Rise platform, and they got to go through the training. You guys have amazing training, right? And expectations and accountability with, OpsCity and the other sources you guys give us, where it makes it very, very easy for us to follow KPIs, where if they're not doing what they need to do, we can pull them and easily coach them to be successful. So once they, it's like 2 weeks, I call it 2 weeks of pain. They come in and they're making phone calls, they're dialing in the office, or they get on like a live dialing session that we do every single day, 3 to 6. And we'll be able to listen to them, make the calls, make mistakes, and then coach them to success.
Yeah, I love that. And do you put everybody onto, your OpsCities, your Quali, etc.? How does that work?
No, you've got to prove yourself to get in there. We treat Quali and we treat OpsCity. We treat these different sources kind of like a Zillow. Some people, I don't know if they're using Zillow at all. I mean, it's super expensive, but we treat it like that. So you kind of go up the ranks. So as you prove yourself and you get closings and you start being successful, you move up to, to being part of these different sites. We just don't throw anybody on it, right? Because then what makes it special, right? Anybody can get on it. It's not a real special deal. But if you have certain agents you do put on it, and if they're successful, you're giving them kind of like almost a bonus, right? They're going up the ladder. It causes more excitement and agents to work harder to beat out somebody else for a position. It's like the starting 5, right?
No, absolutely. And with your agents and these lead sources, once they, get the client close to, sending to a lender, how is that handoff from, the agent to the LO?
We try to do it live. So when we have the conversation with the client, we're pitching them. We try to use different loan programs, and obviously this would be something that you would talk to your lender about, because some of them specialize in different loan programs. So you want to make sure you have some type of I'd call it a hook, something that's special, right? That you can speak fluently to the lead. So for instance, our hook would be you ask them if you're approved, and most people are going to say yes, I am, right? Because they don't want to talk about their financing. They don't even want to mess with that. And the minute they do, we congratulate them. We'll talk a little bit of pain, like maybe something that we went through when we were buying our house. Hey, congratulations on that, on all that, hard work that you did. And we know how painful it was. I remember my first house, it was such a hard time, getting all the paperwork in. It was painful. Good job. And then we'll say, hey, before I let you go, I got 2 amazing loan products that I love to offer to my friends and family. Right? Because with all of these leads, we want to treat them as a long-term relationship. and treat them just like we would our family member or a best friend, right? They're not just a transaction. It's somebody that we want to be working with, forever. And the two products is one, the 0 down home loan, and then the other one would be the 203K rehab. And everybody probably knows what both of those are, hopefully. But the way that the 0 down goes is, the 0 down is a program that we partner with our lender on, where we can get you a secondary loan where you can get up to 4% for closing costs, prepaids, or down payment. Right? And let's first say the person said that they wanted to buy a house at $500,000. Well, this is where we do math, right? We all know on this call that that's 20 grand, right? So then what we would say is, where else can you go where you can work with a lender, you can work with an agent, they can show you how you can make up to $20,000 for 5 hours of your time, because the class is 5 hours, right? And then we break it down by hour. I don't think the president of the United States makes $4,000 an hour. Do you? I don't know a plastic surgeon that makes $4,000 an hour. Do you? And usually what happens is we've caused a light bulb to go off where they're like, wow, I want to learn more about this. How do I make more money than the president or whatever? And then they'll say, tell me more. And then we'll say, hey, I'm the one that could put this all together. But my really, really great lender partner, Nick Street, actually, I just text him and he's ready to do a live transfer. I'm calling him right now and he's going to talk to you, pull the app, and hopefully in like 5-10 minutes, we'll get a pre-qual and we'll go look at houses tonight. So that's the short version of it.
I love that. I'm going to come back to you with some scripts, and then Nick, why don't you walk me through handoff and what it is with your LOs and setting the right expectations.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing like Chris and a lot of the really strong agents will do is they'll set that conversation up really well. And if that introduction is strong enough, the application process becomes a lot easier. So we know in the lending world, like we can't really have fun, exciting, sexy conversations, right? We have to ask about their credit score. We have to ask about their job history. We have to ask about their income. We have to ask about their debt. And that's always, or that's sometimes, right? Not always the most exciting thing for somebody to get into and want to share. So if as a lender, we're rushing into that conversation, or we're saying, hey, you want to buy a house? First thing you got to do is get approved. Here's the process to get approved. So you're like, man, maybe I just don't want to buy a house then, right? But if the agent's doing a really good job of creating that expectation, presenting an opportunity, then that initial application call becomes a little bit more exciting, right? So that's what we've found is if we can get them excited about buying a house and excited about a program or product that we have, then that initial conversation will go a little bit smoother, right? So with my guys, yes, there is that expectation that if somebody's either on the phone or making dials, we know, hey, if they have somebody on the hook, the highest percentage of conversion is going to be that transfer. And so, hey, Chris and his team, they're making dials between these hours. Who's available between those hours to be ready for those live transfers? And the live transfer comes on, we have a script centered around, right? Typically, if that transfer comes, that's Chris calling first. Hello, he gives maybe 2-3 minutes. Hey, Nick, just want to let you know I have Casey on the line. He's really, really interested in X. Perfect. I'm going to lead the conversation off with, hey, Casey, I know you've talked to Chris. That's awesome. He told me you're super interested in that. That's an amazing program. All I need to do is take a few minutes to learn a little bit more about your financial information, and I can give you all the details on that program or maybe something else that might be better suited for your individual financial situation.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to come back to you, Chris. I'm kind of going through everything. Talk to me about your buyer scripts that you have with your agents. I want to see if you can kind of help some of the agents on there that are currently working with OpCity and talk to me about that process. Yeah.
Well, usually with the OpCity, like when these leads are coming in, they're usually somewhat ready, where they at least want to talk or go look at homes. But if we don't get them on the phone and we're trying to you know, connect with them and get them moving forward. We'll have a script. What I like to call is think as if it's already happened type of script and mindset. So when we're calling and we're following up, we're speaking to these people like we've known them forever, and we've been, you know, trying to get a hold of them. And so we're just reconfirming information that we already have, but speaking it in a way where we're excited, we're amplified, our energy is high, kind of like, you know, the way I feel right now. So when we call, we'll call up and they'll pick up the phone and we'll just say, hey, this is Chris with the home search site. So we're not going to say like a general company, because if this lead has already talked to 2 or 3 other agents, right, outside of us, we want to use it a generic company name or site where they think that, oh yeah, no, I remember you guys. They don't remember us, but that's fine. Hey, this is Chris with the home search site. I've been sending you properties. I haven't heard anything. I just wanted to confirm the email you gave me. And we read the email. Well, that's an automatic yes. So that's a level of like trust that we just got. Our distrust just lowered, right? And then after that, we just go right into the beds and baths, but we don't say what it says on the lead. We don't, if it says 2-bedroom, we don't say that. We say the national average. So what everybody wants. Can everybody afford it? Probably not. That doesn't matter. Our job is to communicate with them, build a relationship, and get it to a lender, right? That's the way I pitch and way I push things. I have here, you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage, white picket fence, kind of like to Leave It to Beaver house, correct? And that's going to keep, and I say Leave It to Beaver because of my age, I'm 50, right? I got younger cats that say Home Alone. They run it with their age. And then we confirm that, and either it's going to be yes, or they'll correct us. No, I'm looking for a 1-bedroom, whatever, right? And then we'll go into area. We never say the city that they're looking in. We do a broader range. So if it's Seattle, for us, that's King County, right? So we say the county. Hey, you know, I have here, you're looking in King County. Can you help me narrow it down to a few cities? And then they give us that information. And while we're talking to them like, you know, we're happy. I got a mirror sitting on my screen, so I know I'm smiling. You don't want to be down and out in Beverly Hills with a crappy attitude and, you know, sad and shit, like stuff like that. You don't want that. You need to be up and you need to be excited. So after you do the email national average for beds, baths, and then you do the city, which is a county, then you go into price, right? And so what we'll say is, we'll never say the price that's on there. Like, you know, it says 500,000. I'm not saying that. So we'll say, hey, real quick, I've been sending you home runs, but it's between 200,000 and $1 million. Help me narrow it down a little bit so I can send you grand slams, right? So and you guys could say it any which way you want, but we're saying it in ways where it's like winning in their mind, right? They're just loving everything we're saying. You know, Leave It to Beaver. Everybody remembers that. Well, depending on your age, that's warm and fuzzy, right? You know, grand slams is better than a home run. You get even more runs scored. Everybody wants to score a bunch of runs. So after we get all that, you get the price point. Then we hit them with, hey, are you pre-approved? Have you gotten pre-approved? They say yes, we congratulate them, and then we share pain, right? So we share our story of the pain we had when we were going through the process, okay? And then we hit them with the 2 loan products, right? And never do we ask them, are you looking to buy in the next 3 to 6 months? Why? They're buying now. That's our mindset. So you got to put it in your mindset that it's a now thing. Right? Because people put it in their minds, oh, I can't buy, my credit's not good enough. It's going to take me years. Well, no, we got credit cleanup, right? So we've got to motivate the client with our ability to speak with them in a way where it's visually pleasing and make this a really, really easy process, right? Not difficult and hard. That's the pitch. It's a little long-winded, sorry. Trying to make it real clear.
I like it. And Nick, you've been, you know, with the highs and the little bit of lows. Talk to me about, you know, as a lender, you know, adapting to the market, these points and shifting all the time. Talk to me about that, please.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's easy to focus on the negativity, right? The media will really do that for you. So I think instead of maybe focusing on interest rates as much, we'll try to steer our conversation strictly towards affordability, right? So how we like to present it is, hey, you have a goal to buy a house. Let's analyze all of your financial information and let's analyze where a house and where a housing payment fits into that budget. So I'll give an example of a call I had this week, right, with a client of mine. And in his mind, he had, a certain amount of money that he was going to use for his down payment and closing costs. And that's great. It was more than the minimum amount. Everything was positive. But rate volatility, right? Fluctuation in prices. There was an unexpected HOA on the house. And now all of a sudden he's immediately negative. This housing price is too much. Maybe I don't want to do it. Well, we can analyze his overall financial situation, right? We can say, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually end up putting less money down. We're going to do a lower down payment home loan, right? We're going to buy down your interest rate a bit. Then we're going to use some of this excess cash to actually pay down some of your other revolving debt. And we've actually improved your cash flow based on what your expectation was for mortgage payment and all of your other debts going in. Now it's lower. So now we've kind of removed every barrier and every objection. And the way we did that was actually utilizing those loan level price adjustments that got I'm not going to bore you with mortgage jargon, but everybody saw, it just got more expensive for people with good credit and higher down payment. That was overstated, but lower down payment loans got incentivized better. So what we did was show him, hey, it's actually better for somebody in your situation to put less money down. So now let's use that money that you just saved to reposition you better financially overall, right? Because we all know credit cards are 29, 30% revolving interest rates. So if you compare that to a mortgage that's an appreciating asset, win-win, right? So I think you just have to get a little bit deeper into saying, hey, I'm going to take your application. I'm going to tell you what interest rate and mortgage payment you qualify for. That's easy. Anybody can do that, right? But let's actually analyze their true financial situation and give them real options to succeed right now.
Absolutely. And I can't remember if it was you, Nick, or Chris. I love this thing that you guys said. You don't sell rates, you sell monthly payments. Who was the one that said that? Was that you, Nick, or was it you, Chris? I can't remember. And then speak to that.
That's Chris.
Yeah. It's all about the, we don't talk about interest rates. We talk about monthly payment. Where are you comfortable at? And then if the comfortability on the payment isn't making sense, then we figure out how do we add a cosigner on, right? Or try to figure out how do we get them into a property that maybe has like rental income coming in. So that's what it is. We not pitch rate ever, never, never. We pitch buy downs. We pitch the monthly payment. That's the main focus, because everybody hears about rate and they're like, oh God, 7.8, it's way too expensive. No, it's not. It's all how you kind of structure it. And we could structure it differently with our LOs, and we can get closing costs paid for, so then we can buy rate down if we need to. And the rates are eventually going to come down. It is. And that's our job, to have a good, strong conversation with the client that's speaking the same language as our lender. That's the other thing that's real important when you guys are partnering up with your lender partners, is that you guys are speaking the same way. Right. And you have the same type of positive energy that you're bringing every single day to the client. Because if it's different in any way, they're going to feel that, and they'll get on the bench. They're not going to want to be in the game.
I love that. And then Nick, do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, same. I mean, Chris touched on a lot of good points. For us, it's analyzing affordability above all else, right? Can you afford this? And sometimes people need to hear that they can afford it. Somebody in a certain income level has an expectation of mortgage payment that's unrealistic. So, I don't have any problem having a really direct conversation with them that, hey, I know you want to buy a $500,000 house and you want to have a $2,000 a month mortgage payment. But I'm here to tell you that's unrealistic. And based upon your income, you can afford a significantly higher housing payment. Let me show you how. And that way, again, you're building trust with the client, but you're also really putting them in a better financial situation.
Yeah, and I think, Chris, you said this yesterday that kind of stuck out to me. Associate pain with getting a loan. Was that
Yeah.
I love that. So yeah.
That's part of our pitch when we're talking with the client is we associate the pain that we went through as buyers, you know, and what was difficult, right? And then to reassure them that that's not what's going to happen working with us, right? Because we have a team that cares about them and we treat them like family, you know, friends and family. And I think that's a big deal, you know, slowing down and really building that relationship and rapport with that client, not a lead, client, right? Because if we treat everybody just like a lead, we're not going to get closings. We're going to, you know, blame everybody else. Oh, it's these leads are crap. But if we treat them like a client and we have a true relationship that we're building with not only our client and our LO during this process, we're going to close time and time again.
I love that. Chris, talk to me. What do you do when you get a referral and the client already says they have an agent?
Well, usually what we'll do is we'll just say, hey, that's great. I love competition. You know, how would you like another horse in the horse race? You know, put me in against your other agent. I'd love to show you how much harder we can work than they can. And if they can find you the house faster than we can and close it out, great. But I have a strong feeling with our Buyer Advantage program, we can do a better job. Pretty simple. That's what it is. I like competition. You know, obviously, if they have exclusive agency contract, you're not going to be able to do that. But if they don't, it's on.
Yeah. And
I'll
then
work on
yeah, I love that. And then Nick, I'm sure you deal with that too, you know, from the agent side as well as the client.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walk me through your process.
Yeah, clients come to us all the time. They say, hey, I've already been through the process. So there's a couple of different scripts we'll use. Some are, hey, that's great. You're already familiar with all the paperwork and all the process. So it would be really, really easy for you to get a second opinion, right? This is literally the biggest financial decision and biggest debt you'll have in your life. Obviously, you want to get, you know, multiple opinions on it. So that's one. Another one we'll use a lot is, hey, well, Chris obviously recommended you to me, so he feels highly about my ability to perform. And we understand all the challenges that are in this market right now. And you agree with that. There's a low amount of inventory. We're going to have to be really strategic about how we structure your offers, how we get you to a payment that you're comfortable with and a level of affordability that, you know, that you're going to want to transact at. So painting that picture of, hey, with us working together as a team, we have clients that are successful all the time. Unfortunately, a lot of people that come to me have already experienced another lender, and they've maybe offered on 10, 15 homes in this market and have not been able to get their offer accepted. I really don't want you to go through that same struggle that a lot of those buyers go through before they get to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Chris, you've been on Quali now for about a month. You guys are both familiar with the product.
Yep.
Talk to me about those seller leads and how it's been so far.
Yeah, so the seller lead, and just so everybody understands, you know, these leads they want to talk to you for sure. We're getting that. Some of them could be 6 months out, a year out, and some of them are ready to go right away, but there's some hair on it. Like maybe it's a divorce, you know, something of that nature. You just have to be prepared to have a really, really good conversation. Again, I'm going to go back to relationship and build relationship, rapport, and trust. Because these guys are in the infancy stages. They're in the beginning stages of thinking about wanting to sell, and they have I like to call problems opportunities. They have opportunities with them that we have to be prepared to talk them through it, if that makes sense. I think we probably have 6 that will list with us in probably the next 6 months that we've gotten so far. And we just picked up one yesterday, and it's an elderly couple in a retirement community, a condo retirement community, and they just bought the unit 2 years ago. So most likely they might maybe be upside down a little bit, but they need to sell in the next 12 months, they said. So we're going to go on that appointment. It's at 12 noon today. So it's good, solid leads. They all know who we are. It's not like we call up and they're like, who the hell are you? They know who we are. They have the expectation to meet with us, and they're open to have the conversation. We as agents and salespeople have to have a good pitch and ability to show massive value, right? With our worry-free listing program that we present. So they want to work with us. And we're not pushing the close right away, because we want to build a relationship with them, figure out their why and where they're headed. Okay. And that's with every single lead we deal with. Quality's, a new one, which is, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are interested in that lead source, please reach out to myself or Cole. We'd love to talk to you about that. They just fell with Rise, so we're in a partnership with them. It's really exciting. Nick, you're in, you're doing Rise Plus. See you're having some success. What is it about that program that you like most?
Yeah, I think a lot of things are valuable there. One of them being the exclusivity to that lead. So to Chris's point, there's more of an identification on who you are and a built-in trust immediately. On our side, we like it because a lot of the material is built out in a lender format already. So there's kind of more of a client expectation of what happens in the process in terms of they have to go through, right, the mortgage process in order to be able to buy a house. So you're not kind of hitting them over the head with that a little bit too early, right? Or people, again, I'm sure as agents, you guys run into that situation where you're trying to introduce a lender and they're saying, I just want to look at houses. I don't want to get approved. Well, again, you're not really going to run into that when they're applying through a source that's advertising, the lending component early on and introducing it early. That and then the capacity of the CRM is great. It kind of allows a little bit more streamlined communication between agent and lender. I work with so many different agents that want us to adapt to their CRM and their platform. Hey, that's great. We do it. We know that that's what comes with our territory. But if we know out of the gate, this lead source uses this CRM and all of us are doing it together, again, it takes one less thing off our plate from the lending side.
Yeah. And again, Rise Plus, we've slowly are turning into a lead gen company, which is extremely excited. So Rise Plus, those are lender focused leads. We also just rolled out Platinum. That goes live next Tuesday. So we're extremely excited about that's going to be used the same CRM as Rise Plus. So we're excited about that. And, we are the distributor for KW.com leads too. So, really excited in the future of where Rise is going. Nick, I talked to you before many times about this, and Chris, there's other ways for agents to make money, right? Rather than just, doing loans. I know you do a little bit with some ancillary services. Talk to me about the ancillary services that you're currently doing. Nick, I'll start with you.
All right. Yeah. So obviously I'm a mortgage professional, right? So for me, what I wanted to do was find a way to allow my realtor partners to participate in the success of mortgage. And I feel like, I don't want to step on Chris's toes, but real estate agents have always had an ability to build out ancillary services like title, insurance, home warranty, et cetera. I felt like, and again, I don't want to say those were easy, but I feel like mortgage was always the most complicated, right? Your options were MSA, which sometimes was successful, sometimes not. Joint ventures, which again may require you to participate in investing up front, or a lot of agents go as far as to start their own mortgage company, right? Which requires them to wear an additional hat, invest money out of their pocket, obtain mortgage licensing, things like that. So what if I could find a platform that eliminated those barriers and just allowed an agent to continue to conduct business the way they can want to conduct business, use a lender and loan officer that they already know, like, and trust, right? But earn an opportunity for revenue off each individual loan, but also an opportunity to share in the overall profits of the company based on who else they can continue to introduce to the platform. So we have a unique program that we've started and we're starting to build out. And again, we're pretty excited about it. So if anybody's interested, let me know and I'm happy to walk you through a quick demo.
Yeah. And Chris, you do a little bit stuff too on the side, like warranties and et cetera.
Warranties, insurance. There's multiple different facets that we work on. I would tell all the agents on here is if there's time to slow down to be able to look into these items, it's a way to be able to make additional money for what you're already doing, right? So we'll do it on title, we'll do it on insurance, we'll do it on home warranties. We're working with Nick on the home loan part. So if you could slow down, take some time to be able to research it, wrap your head around it. I know it's hard. It took me a really, really long time to wrap my head around how all this works. But if you have the ability to do it, which Nick already said, hey, reach out to me. I'll sit down and explain this to you. It's worth the time to be able to do that. If you can make an extra, let's just say you made an extra 10, 15,000 a month from the business you're closing and doing just by partnering up with a lending company like this. Pretty much a no-brainer. But at the end of the day, it's not always for everybody. But if you have the time to slow down to look into it, worth your while.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you have to take advantages of these services right now with the shifting market. So agents, if you get time, look at it. Nick and Chris, if I'm going to open it up for questions, but I want to make sure you guys are able to put your contact info if they want to reach out to you, learn more about these services, or just, connect. Could you guys do me a favor and put that in the chat for me?
Yeah, you got it.
Absolutely.
And you can verbally say it too, and then I'm going to open it up for questions for everyone on here.
I just put my cell phone in there. You guys just text me your V cards if you have any questions. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't even have to do with the lead sources like pitch, or you guys want to be part of like our dialing, jump in and listen to it. And I'm fine with that. I'm an open book.
Yeah. So if you guys got questions, please unmute yourself and fire away. I know we got a few more minutes, so want to make sure we get some questions answered about scripts or anything like that, whatever. Cole, you probably wanted to fire some questions off at Chris and possibly Nick, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I did have a question. I want to go to Chris first and then Nick. What's up, guys, by the way? Hope you guys are doing good. This has been awesome so far. Chris, for agents on your team right now, because obviously the market's shifted, it has shifted a little bit. It's headed still, I think, in a little bit of a different direction than where it was. I don't think I don't think it's settled yet. For agents on your team that are continuing to have consistent success right now, what do you see them doing differently versus maybe agents who aren't?
They follow a process. So we teach it's a real simple process. As we break down their day. So number one, I want to see what their whole day looks like before I even hire them. And then once I see where their day is and where we have time to kind of move some things around, we then make it real clear that 8 to 11, they're going to prospect. So 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., they're going to prospect. That means they're making calls on attempted leads. And then from 12 to 3, they're gonna follow up. They're gonna train, preview houses. So during those 3 hours, that's where they're spending their time. And then from 3 to 6, they're gonna prospect again. So the ones that are super successful will follow the process that I give them to a T. Doesn't have to be to a T, but that's what they do. The ones that don't, they'll have, minor success. Our goal and expectation is 2 contracts going every month for each agent. Minimum 2.
Gotcha.
So we set that in place, and then we give them a process, and they got to follow it.
Love it. So guys, that's really similar to what Brian was saying last week. If you're on the call last week, it sounds like the agents that are winning right now, even in a market that's a little bit more uncertain than it was last year, have ownership of their time, right? And they have systems and processes that are helping them win. Nick, similar question to you. I know you come at it from a little bit of a different perspective, being a loan officer. The agents that are still bringing you business, though, that you see, because I'm sure you've seen some where all of a sudden it's like they haven't called you in months, right?
Absolutely.
Are you seeing something similar? Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing that's helping them win right now.
Yeah, I like to call it aggressive patience, right? So you have to just really, number one is take an insane amount of action. Now, taking that action doesn't immediately lead to success, but I say you shoot, then aim, right? So if you're not sure what to do, take a shot, take some action, then refine your process as you're doing it and as you're in it. But a lot of people right now are like, oh, well, I'm going to get into leads. So I'm going to spend 3 months analyzing what the best lead source is, or how I can convert leads. And I'm going to dial in my script before I take a call. Look, you don't have time to do that, right? What you have to do is take action first. And if you can work with somebody that's awesome, that has experience, great. But really what you should be doing is taking an insane amount of action. You should be tripling the amount of activity that you took in the previous market to expect similar or the same results that you were previously getting.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. Sounds like more action, more activity, less hesitation, and a lot of patience. Okay. Well, that's primarily, I wanted to touch on that just to give everybody an idea of what you guys are seeing, that's helping agents stay on top of their game right now. We had a question in the chat, and guys, so you can drop questions in the chat right now, or you can come off mute and ask a question as well. We had a question in the chat from Brandy, just how many leads are given to new agents per week? So Brandy, maybe if you want to clarify, I think Chris, that's probably aimed to you about just kind of the leads that you're providing to your agents. So you can touch on that a little bit, and Brandy, if you want to refine that too, so we can get a little more clarity, that'd be great.
Sure. My microphone is a little messed up, but hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, that definitely was a question for Chris. Just wanting to find out, when you're onboarding a new agent and they go through the training, what's the volume of leads that they're receiving, as they're new into your system, I guess.
So I've got a couple things that I do. So we generate PPC leads, which everybody knows that those are difficult, right? They're 6 months to 2 years out usually before they'll convert. So they'll be on a round robin. My system will ring all the agents, and so it tracks who picks up the phone, who declines. So they're on a round robin to get those at bats, and then they're expected to make calls every day. So we call the same lead 1,000 times. We call them until we pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. So,
Okay.
I have 120,000 leads in my database. So we rotate, a couple hundred, and they're dialing every day.
Gotcha.
So it's unlimited. It's unlimited, right? On at bats that you can have, but I want them to perfect their pitch. So they're calling on that data. That's why a lender is important that has data also, right? Because if you don't have enough data, you're newer, and you have an LO that does have data, you can dial on their data. Feel me?
Gotcha. Yes. Thank you so much.
You got it.
All right, we have any other questions for Nick or Chris?
I'm gonna touch on one thing that Nick was saying, because I think this is really, really important that everybody really understands. Is you got to take action. You can't overthink it, right? A lot of us are super analytical and we're methodical with what we do. But what's happening in this market right now it's not gonna stop. You know, rates could go up higher. It could get worse. It could get, better, but you have to take massive action. Don't worry about all the little things in that lead, what it says or doesn't say, right? Use a pitch that's open-ended, that's broad, that you can, get that appointment, that face-to-face, or get them over to that LO. If you're not taking the action, someone else will. Somebody like me will, and I will take market share. Believe that. That's why I'm here, because I want to take market. I want to win. Even after 19 years, I still want to win like I was, my first 5 years in the market.
Jacqueline had a question. What is LL?
What's
Can you unmute yourself and
LL?
elaborate on that? Unless you guys know what it means.
I don't know.
You keep.
LL.
Oh, me?
LO probably is what we're
LO.
saying.
LO. That's loan officer. LOA, loan officer assistant. Yeah, all right, there it is. Yeah.
All right. I really appreciate you two jumping on here. I think you brought a ton of value. And again, guys, everyone on the call, if you're interested in learning more about these two, you can absolutely reach out to me and I'll connect you guys. They've been amazing. I've known them now going on 2 years. They've always been upfront with their process and they're here to make sure that you win. It's not competitive with you. I mean, Nick, he's been an open book with other LOs in the program. Chris will help anyone. And it's quite an amazing program, I think, what we have here. And we have amazing people like Nick and Chris to help us. So I
Casey,
appreciate you.
Can
Yeah,
I
go
say
ahead.
let me get one more thing before everybody leaves here. And this is one thing that I think a lot of us lose track of, is being positive and being grateful. And it's something I want to share with everybody. And then you guys hopefully can either share it with your team or if you guys are already doing it, kudos to you. One of the big things that I think we lose track of is what we're thankful for every day, right? We all have blessings. There's all great things that are happening to us. And when this market kind of changes and shifts, we just focus on the negative and how shitty things are. So what I want to leave with everybody here is every single day when you get up, whatever you believe in, be thankful for it, but put it out there to the universe. 3 things, right? Roof over your head, health, family, whatever it may be. And at the end of the day, when you call it a day, same thing, what you're thankful for. I think if we can focus on things like that consistently, not on the negative things, all the terrible things that are happening in the world or to ourselves, and we can focus on the good and the great, it's going to make life a lot better and easier, and it's going to make it easier to win. So I want to share that
Somebody
with
once
everybody.
told me, Chris, that it's really hard to be negative when you're continuously saying positive things.
Amen.
I
Amen. I believe that.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Go get them. Go get them, guys.
Thank you.